In this tutorial video, I'm going to go over how to create an assessment in a Schoology course. We'll cover the different question types that you can add to those assessments in videos following this. To add an assessment to Schoology is really easy. You just need to be inside the course that you want to add the assessment to. From there, you can add your assessment anywhere you want. If you have your class separated to where you have different folders for different units or different topics, you can actually click within any of these folders and add your assessment directly in that folder. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to come here to the main page of my course and I'm going to add the assessment there. The first step you'll need to do is come up to your Add Materials button and come down to Add Assessment. From here, you'll give it a sample name, or not a sample name, your test name. You'll give it a due date if you prefer. Your submissions are going to be automatically defaulted to be disabled. Whenever you're ready for students to be able to submit answers, you're going to want to make sure that you enable that. Some of your other options are you can enable it until a specific date, or you can enable it from one date, a starting date, until a finish date. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Enable. Your next is going to be your grading category. Your scale, I'm going to leave that as numeric. Your options down here at the bottom are where you can do some really neat things. Your very first option is going to allow you to individually assign an assessment to a student. This comes really in handy for those students that have modifications for testing. Maybe they have a shortened test with less questions, or if their multiple choice options needs to be 3 options as opposed to 4, this is a great place to where you can create a modified test for a student or a few students that fall within that accommodation and individually assign it to them. When you do that and you individually assign, this test will only be viewable for those students who have that accommodation, and all the other students in your class will not be able to see it. The very next option is make sure that it's published to students. You also have the option to disable the grade statistics. And then you'll have the option, I don't because I'm enrolled in more courses, but you'll have the option to copy this to courses to another course that you have. So when you're done with all of that, you're going to click on Create, and it's going to bring you to the setup screen for your test. The very top option is going to be the instruction panel, and you're not required to put anything in here, but if you would like to give instructions to the students that they will see before they start the assessment, that's the place that you will put it in there. Underneath that, for assessment settings, you have the option to give it a time limit if you want, or randomize the questions, or show the possible points for each question during the student's attempts. Your next section is going to be your assessment toolbar that students will be able to view. You can allow students to flag questions so they can come back to review them later. You can allow students to eliminate answer choices or to use a calculator, a ruler, or a protractor during any of the attempts. The last section is going to be on student settings, and this is going to be where you can allow students to view the results. It's going to be defaulted as no. I recommend to change it to yes, only because a student is probably going to want to know how they performed after the test, and this is going to grade it for you automatically. So why not go ahead and let students see what they scored? Or if you plan not to do a retest with this specific test, and any of their retests will be with different questions, you can choose yes with correct answers. My recommendation would be just to change it to yes. And then the last option, you have the option to allow students to submit the test more than one time if you would like. Once you are done with the setup option, then you will go and add different questions to your assessment, to which I will create videos for each of those question types as well.